serious problem. We got a problem, and we got to talk about that problem right now. As soon as I take my socks off. Okay, problem's been solved. The problem was my feet were too hot. But we've got other things besides that we need to talk about, like the question: has Putin won? He is the master of gaslighting, isn't he? He actually convinced the Israelis that he was their friend while simultaneously maintaining a relationship as an ally of Syria and Iran. And he pulled it off for how long? Well, the cat's out of the bag. Now he's praising Hezbollah, he's praising Iran, he's praising Hamas. I guess the party's over. Which begs the question, what's the future of Russian-Israeli relationships? Because it doesn't look too good right now. And we don't have a Congress. We don't have a Congress that can approve a budget. We don't have a Congress that can approve a budget in the event of war. Think about that. We don't have a Congress that can fund what Putin is doing in Ukraine. We don't have a Congress that can fund America in the Middle East. And before you think that's a good thing, understand that Putin could come very close to taking over the world. Him, Iran, Syria, China, new trade routes, collapsing the United States from within with cyber war, getting us to fight amongst ourselves, creating an unworking Congress where we scream and yell at each other and don't approve a budget. And so we can't even go and defend our own interest in the Middle East, right? Will the war escalate? People talk about fighting Iran directly. Think about that. If the source of the problem is Iran, if Hezbollah and Hamas are Iranian armies, then if they are removed, will a new army be metastasized because the underlying cause has not been removed, which is the current government of Iran? So the Israelis take out Hamas as a proxy government of Iran occupying the people of Gaza. But they can't leave because it'll just be replaced by another proxy army, right? So they stay, and then they turn the area into a military zone. Now Hezbollah is firing on Israel. That's the latest. Israel is firing back, and my concern is, when I did the remote, that there are three locations. There's a northern up front ready to go in and attack Hezbollah army, and they are well equipped in the north. It's not looking good. Further back from that, southeast of that, is Army Troop Number 2. So the idea is they take Israel from the north. This is Hezbollah's plan. Wink, wink, if anybody's awake. They attack and fire from the north, and while we're dealing with that, the second army that's waiting further from the southeast goes in, and behind that is another army. So all in all, you have three major Hezbollah armies. The first hit coming from the north, and the second from the southeast is another major army, and then further back is a third waiting to go in. So every time Israel thinks that this thing is done, if we take out, even if we get help from America and we take out the Northern Alliance, we're still going to be possibly dealing with Hezbollah on that southeast side, that second battalion, and then we have another battalion way, way further back in Lebanon. And from what I can understand, the people further back have the least amount of training, and that's why they were held back. So you had the people who were like the Golani, the Marines, the people are ready to go in, the major firefighters, they're up in the north, they're ready to go, boom, they're ready to hit Israel. And then you've got that second team right behind them. And we don't have a Congress to approve a budget. So in the 1980s, America had bases in Lebanon. We don't want to be back in Lebanon. We don't want to be back in Lebanon because we lost American soldiers in Lebanon, right? We got hit. Was it Hezbollah? I believe it was. So a U.S. military base was hit, and lots of Americans died. So the idea was, we'll just pay Israel to take care of this area. But the situation is so bad. Is it enough for one country to attempt to deal with this? Because until the underlying cause, Iran, is dealt with, we will continue to have this problem. Iran and Russia under Putin. All right, let's do the empath's prayer, and let's take a look. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. I'm going to first take a look at Congress and see if we're going to get a working Congress soon, because I think that that is something right here in the United States we should be worried about because of where the planet appears to be headed. I guess Marjorie Taylor Greene is not a member of the pro-Israel party after all. That was a joke, right? We have people in very serious legal trouble. People are becoming increasingly frightened. What's happened in Israel, what's happening in Gaza, the fact that the U.S., that there are U.S. British foreign hostages, the fact that we have sent a U.S. military into the area. We have this feeling of this military presence upon us. In terms of what's going on in Congress right now, it's a kind of frozen fear of consequences, fear of jail, fear of, it's kind of like a fenced in terror. And then this military This is not good because they need to be able to fund the military. Things are moving very quickly in the Congress. In Congress, people are investigating very rapidly how to bring Congress together. People are refusing to cooperate. Matt Gaetz, for example. The power of Congress, they've never been here before. So you have to ask yourself, how could America have fallen so low that we don't have a working Congress? This has never happened. Could there have been an outside influence? Did we do this all entirely on our own? How could our country have become so dysfunctional the Constitution wins? Smoother waters lay ahead. The masters are here. I see Daniel Goldman a lot. I think he's doing a lot because he's a lawyer. He's a genius. The final outcome, Six of Cups. We could create a war party just like they did in Israel, a peace offering, trying to get a unity government. The clarification over that. Meditation over the next couple weeks. Again, mastery, mastery and hidden dealings, hopes and fears, people walking away from the deal. The final outcome, hanging it up. They'd better bring it together. If there are 7 people in Congress that they feel belong in prison or whatever, if that's really how the Republicans feel, then they need to come across the aisle and with the Democrats, and they need to pick somebody that both sides agree to, because there's this anxiousness here, and also here again, this kind of feeling of having to rein in. I feel that there's going to be, because of the events happening in the world right now, it's going to force Congress into a unity government. That's not to say it'll last, not with a hangman also moving in. But let us learn from the Israelis. Maybe it's time for us to think about some kind of moderate unity government so that we can at least get through this crisis. And that appears to be what they're saying. Okay, so now we're going to look at Israel and Hezbollah, whether or not Hezbollah is going to be involved. I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure the United States is actually going to be involved in hitting Hezbollah targets. So let me take a look. If I know the locations of those 3 brigades, those 3 what do they call them? Battalions, brigades, what do they call them? Large populations of soldiers. Then I would imagine their intelligence knows where they are. It's kind of a smart way to do it, and you keep just hitting them. You wipe out. I mean, they're gonna exhaust the Israelis if they do that. 10 of Wands, heavy load. Passion King, the War King. 10 of Wands, enforcements. And also, remember, the Fire King, the King of Wands, he can order a war, and that's not good. If of all the kings most likely to order war, which king is it? Mars, right? The Mars King, King of Wands. Yeah. That's not good. That's not good. Okay, so we have the Mars King, and then a heavy load, carrying a heavy load, headed northeast. Dang. Page of Pentacles. See, I feel like they were heavily. See, they're saying that Hezbollah is even more heavily armed than Hamas. You have also this Justice card. this would indicate this kind of sense of heavy arms. Many will die. Look at that 10 of swords. Hezbollah is going to get hit, and they're going to get hit hard. I think it looks like a direct hit on probably I think they're going to take out the northern division first. Israel uses remote viewers. I got to see a demonstration when I was in Israel of their military remote viewers. It was very cool. Hidden information is sitting in the third house, what they marinate in. A secret information. Their intelligence leads them to 10 of swords. And there's the war. Hezbollah refuses to surrender. They will take many casualties. They'll be heavily hit. Hezbollah will be very, very heavily hit. It's because they fortified 3 sections thinking that they were going to hit Israel 3 times. But the problem is that those locations were given up because if I can see them, then Israeli intelligence can see them. So that's pretty much what happens. They're left out in the cold. They're isolated. They're hit from multiple sides. Hopes and fears the power of the other. The final outcome, they flee. They flee the area. So it's looking as if they attempt to create some charter, some kind of peace charter or something, at least a temporary ceasefire after that. But it looks like they're going to be pushed back and hit very heavily. Also, Israel needs to watch its northern seas because it looks like terrorists could be, again, attempting to come in through Lebanon, as they have done in the past. I'm going to check out Putin real fast. What's going on with Putin? Did he win? Let's see what's going on with Putin. See, I don't think Putin cares about Palestinians. He's like now talking about, oh, it is just so terrible. But you were having cocktails and you were toasting with vodka Netanyahu for years. What happened? That didn't bother you? He put, the problem with psychopaths. Let's talk about the problem with psychopaths, shall we? The problem with psychopaths is that they don't think. He's similar to Donald Trump in the sense that Donald Trump spoke about the fact that he gets extremely angry and can behave irrationally. The same is true for Putin. I created a boo-boo. I gave an order to kill 1,400 Jewish people, Jewish babies, and now they're in a tunnel, and I want to negotiate you getting them back now. And it's just, it's sicker than Hannibal Lecter, right? That level of narcissism. Will do this horrible, terrible thing with my buddies, Iran, Hamas, and then I'll come in, and then in this way, I'll be the hero. New beginning lays ahead for him. I think it was a situation where he created, now he can't go back again. You can imagine what must the Israelis, the Israeli conservatives and Russians be thinking right now. It's like, what? I mean, we ran on a campaign of, that was unbelievably fascistic against Palestinians. So now it's like, what? he wants to be the peace broker. Six of Cups, right? The peace broker, the person who's offering peace. His conflict card is hanging up, confusion. He has a lot of confusion about the area. It's a very destructive energy around him. He gets his wish. To some extent, that was what he wanted, was chaos. Look at this confusion. He's in his cups, Seven of Cups, in his immediate environment. His fourth house, which would be his mental state, the moon, lunacy. In his cups, he gets his wish. The other, he's having issues with the military, a strong military. He's having problems with his opposition having a strong military. The hopes and fears of him, his financial situation. The final outcome for Putin, I think NATO's going to get involved. I think that this is the beginning of the end for Putin. He's going to get hit surprisingly, and he's going to be hit hard. I think this could be Ukraine. I think we're going to see a very hard hit for Russia. See him trying to come in as the peacemaker to try and deal with this. His opposition is moving very quickly over the war, Matt. See, over the military. So you have this strong military presence. That's probably the trade he's trying to break. He's looking for solutions. His final outcome to the crash is it's a world crash. We could be looking at world economic changes in the next 2 weeks. It's become increasingly obvious that, NATO does not want to become involved, but it's become increasingly obvious that there is war everywhere and that the United Nations is going to have to come into people. It's just, I don't know what has happened astrologically. I'm not an astrologer, but I can tell you with these cards, the entire world is fighting. The entire world is fighting, They're saying that it's like people need to come in and just pull the fighting apart. It needs to end. So it could be that NATO and the UN have no choice but to get involved because the situation is so intense. I just want to check out the future of Iran in the near future because I can't imagine Iran would be stable given everything that's happened. That they must have infuriated the entire world. The future of Iran. Let's just do 4 cards. Their wish has been granted. So it was something that they wanted. They wanted this to happen. The other. The land of the Torah, blue and white, Israel. This is Israel's card, the high priestess. And Simchat Torah, right? So it was, Simcha is Hebrew for joy, joyful. Torah means to bear the light of God. So it was a day when people were celebrating the light of God, peace, love, and the light of God. So ironically, that was the day that the country was hit. Torah, ta, to bear, or light, like an orb. So he's happy with what has happened to his enemy, Israel. His hope and fear, new settlements, new building. I'm assuming he means new building or new things happening in certain areas. So what he is saying, what Iran is saying is that they truly believe that Israel will expand and take over the world, which of course is not true. But In his mind, he thinks that that is what is happening. And so he fears these new settlements expanding outward. It's not real. It's not, trust me. But in his mind, he sees that, because he's such an anti-Semite, that he believes that this is this expanding problem, right? So we're talking about Nazis, right? So they believe this is the Jewish problem, right? That they will breed, right? That they will be everywhere. So we have that same kind of fear, the settlements, right? The new buildings that are coming up. The fighting night, right? So he's anxiously spending all of this money to try and stop the growth of Zionism, right? They are going to expand to the world. So that which we fear, we create, right? So now it looks like Israel will take over because Hamas is finished, which means that the Palestinians no longer have a governing. But that's, so we learn from that. Our fear, when we give something that much fear, we actually construct it. Right, so we're constructing it. I think I looked at everything. I already looked at the people in Gaza. I think that they started opening up, thank God, the Egyptian side. Let me do one more quick throw on that, and then I'm going to call it a night. Thank you, guys. We raised a lot of money for the refugees, and that was very kind of you. Thank you. Or the Queen Who Dreams. A lot of people weren't allowed to leave. That's the other thing. Oh, they're going to be allowed to leave. They were blocked from being allowed to leave, and it looks like they're going to be allowed to leave. Yeah. People are going to finally get visas, which is something that they wanted. They took a poll and asked people if they wanted citizenship, like to the United States, and the majority said yes. They'd love to visit when things are better, right? So the situation is going to be transformed, and you have many people leaving and being granted finally visas. Finally, the world is looking and saying, we'll give you a place to live. Because unfortunately, it's just not because anyone wants to suppress anyone, it's because it's a war zone. And until this problem is dealt with, nobody, no civilians can be in that area. I'm sorry to say. All right, love and light to you all. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves. If you need me, if you need to have a tarot reading with me, you can find all the information below this video. And I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.